I was trolling around the internet and I stumbled across this comic called The Me You Love in the Dark. And the title sort of caught my attention. Um, and so I decided to give it a read. This is published by Image Comics, and I'll have the cast up on screen for you to see who created it. Um, this is a very dark story, and it has a lot of overlaps with Possessive. So the it's hard to talk about because the story has so many similarities to that one. Essentially speaking, this is about a woman called Ro who's suffering from some sort of mental block with her artwork. She's a painter, just like in Possessive, except it was a gentleman. Um, and so she decides to move somewhere fresh. And for some reason, she picks the house on the street that is rumored to be haunted, artists and whatnot. And to Rose's surprise, it is haunted. Um, and you guys and girls and whatever else you want to be out there may remember that I really enjoyed Possessive, a comic book with the exact same sort of story and similar concepts. And where Possessive was really lighthearted and humorous and kind of silly with all this and had me giggling throughout the read while also feeling heartfelt for the lead, The Me You Love in the Dark does the exact opposite. It gives me the chills reading this one. It's not pleasant, and there's no silly and funniness to it. It's actually quite disturbing. I'll start with the artwork. I didn't like the artwork in the first issue. And even though the artwork is the same throughout, I really started to like it as the story progressed. You see, it does this clever thing where in the first few issues, it's all bright, it's a lot brighter. And as the story goes down this dark and twisted path, it gets darker in the panels and the use of light, it's really clever. And the art style really fits that creepy, and I mean creepy sort of style. Um, in terms of the story, Ro meets this spirit. He never gets a name, and the spirit sort of helps Ro, and they sort of start talking. And for a while, you're not even sure if it's even real or something in her head. The whole thing feels like an allegory for sort of mental illness and abusive relationships and all this sort of stuff, all sort of mashed into one sort of, mashed potatoes and then slamped on a plate. It's really hard to see what they were going for there in that regard, but it worked. You've got this story of this empowering creature who gets very sort of selfish and controlling, even though he starts off quite sweet. And I don't want to say too much because it's only a 5 issue comic and you can read it in about 20 minutes. But yeah, it's really interesting, and it's quite funny because the ending to Possessive I didn't like. I wanted the opposite result. I really enjoyed the female spirit in that one. Um, in this one, like, no, you want her to get out. This is a bad relationship. But unfortunately, it ends very quickly. It almost feels like this should have been twice as long and really tackled with the mental sort of trauma side of things, to go along with this story, and sort of dragged it out a bit more, or at least dragged out the escape a bit more, because it all happens in one issue of five, where everything just sort of comes to a halt, and it all feels very anticlimactic. But the lead up to it's actually very good. It's a very very creepy comic. It nails the vibes, and it does make you think a little bit. Um, it's not preachy or anything like that, but it's just overall it's a very solid and creepy comic. It doesn't live up to its title. The title really had me like, oh, what is this? And then I was like, oh, it's kind of Possessive 2.0. And then I was like, oh no, it's creepy Possessive. This is like opposite world Possessive. But it never really lives up to the creative title, although it is really good, really really good, at the creep factor and the sort of horror factor to it. So if you're into that stuff, maybe give it a go. That's all I really have to say about this one. It's just a short little review for a short comic, but if this interests you, definitely look it up. I'll try and get a link down below for it. And yeah, thanks for watching. And if you want more videos, reviews, and things like this from me, as always, like and subscribe. Thank you very much. It was so creepy.